governance is also important to streamline all these things. And then only you can make your organization more and more sustainable, and your journey will be more stronger.
And especially when you're in a global setup, all of you in the room who deals with ESG would definitely know that how many times now we have to respond to ESG questionnaire, whether it's for vendor, investor, customer. I mean, the amount of the buzz has happened around ESG is just phenomenal. And I would like to thank this whole carbon net zero. What has the different governments have come together. I think that has triggered a lot of discussion on the ESG in the recent past. I think we have a question from the audience. Yeah, please go ahead. And if somebody can help with the mic. Do you have a mic for him?
Good evening to you all. My name is Mohammed Kamisu. I am a research scholar with Symbiosis Institute of Operations Management. I have a question. We've been talking about ESG policies and compliances. And according to research, nowadays there are about 27 countries that has made ESG disclosure mandatory. And India is one of them. Because as of recently, about the top 1,000 companies by market capitalization are mandated to disclose their ESG operations. So my question is, how do we know that this company are actually reporting what they are really practicing? Because in other financial reporting, there is external assurances. An independent auditor has to confirm that this has been what they reported. So in the case of sustainability, how do we know that, yes, the company is really disclosing what it really practicing? So this is my question. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a very good question. So, but now it's a part of governance. And most of the companies, so it's not top 1,000 company, government has mandated, but more than 2,000 companies in India are reporting on GRI guideline. So its journey started, as I explained, it's a journey. This journey started in India in 2002. So we were part of this, but there are many such companies who are now reporting on this GRI guideline. There is a component. So if you are reporting on that framework, GRI framework, so there is a third party assurance is also required. If you want to get certification from GRI, that is A plus or B plus, so based on the assurance, you are getting that accreditation, and it's a business case for the organization. So it's not voluntary. They are going for mandatory, and organizations are following it, and they are getting benefit out of it. So we are the beneficiary of this. In 2002, we started our journey. Third party assurance we were getting. In 2010, we got this IFC loan without any hindrance. And there are many other investors, external investors who are also investing and ready to invest in our company only due to this sustainability report. So same on the same line, government is also now creating a framework. So it's a journey. So government has also started initially with 100 company, 500, now 1,000 company. And there is a proper process that whatever company is declaring, it is being assessed by third party, and so that assurance is coming from third party. It's not voluntary. So it is actually happening. That's why our country is growing like anything. So and we will grow, and certainly our society will become sustainable.
So as I said that ESG is actually built on the principle of sustainability. Whether you call it this sustainability is basically a principle. CSR is called the framework, right? Now, if you have to assure against something, you need to have a KPI and targets, and that only can be assured. I can't assure myself, that I want to reduce my water consumption. That my principle of living is that I want to be very economical, I want to be eco-efficient, I don't want to have a child labor, I don't want to have forced labor. These are the principles I which actually operate upon. And if you look at that, what SDG goals, or whether you're, basically these are the basically principles, framework that has been done. Now, if I have to basically on an ESG side or sustainability side, what we do as a company, we identify our material impacts. Material means something which is important to me and important to my stakeholders, right? So we are operating in the area which is like I say, high energy consumption, a high waste generation, right? Then our goal should be that we want to become a zero waste company. Our goal is that at some point of time we want to become a net zero carbon. Now, when I put a goal, I need to also provide a time frame. I also need to provide an action plan. And against this action plan and the target, people come and audit me that how I have progressed. So if you go through Vedanta's report, I think we are the first one of the first one to say that by FY20 we will be reducing our GHG emission by 20% or 16% over 2012 as a baseline. Now, once I have committed this to my stakeholders, it is my duty to regularly review and check and confirm to them. And that is the difference between the ESG and CSR. When you put your targets and goals and objectives and basically a roadmap, people will come and actually test you whether you're delivering against that goal or not. And that helps you to build the trust and the respect as an organization. And that's what we try to do when we show, and that's how we actually get it audited and review and report. So if you look at our report, we always very judicious to say, this is our objective we want to achieve. This is the goal what we have short term and long term, and these are the few of action plan, the key action plan. We don't put all the action plan, but this is how we want to deliver that our objective, and against we regularly keep on updating to our stakeholders how we are moving on that. Thanks.
Very, very valid point.
Development has happened recently. So SEBI has given a task to ICMA to develop a pool of social auditors. So they are developing module and everything who will become assessor for those who are reporting those 1,000 top 1,000 companies. So it is coming parallelly. So certainly within 1 year you will see lot of auditors have been trained by ICMA who will audit those points in those companies who have reported. So it's not that, so just like GRI, the government this BRR report which companies are reporting, that will also be assessed by third party. So government is conscious about it, and they are bringing other things also to bring governance into this.
Yes. I think thank you for this wonderful question. I think paucity of time we will have to wrap up, and we have already got instructions. I think my deepest thanks to both our co-panel. I think we were initially 5 or 6 of us, but I think they covered it so well. They were very candid, honest, and they also shared insights from their respective companies. I think that was like almost like they're running like a live case study for us, right? So thank you both to you gentlemen for your candid sharing, and over to you, Mr. Anand.
Thank you for moderating this very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for such a marvelous session and so wonderfully moderated. With this, we mark the end of session 5. Now we'll start session number 6. This will focus on ESG technology and digital solutions, deploying ESG digital solutions to comply with regulations using innovation thinking, and leaders will be discussing on how technology-enabled ESG record keeping and data analysis. That will be session 6. But in the meantime, I'll request Rusen to come and deliver the mementos to our eminent panelists. I'll request the audience to join your hands and give a big round of applause for the panelists for such a deep and insightful session. Mumbai after Bangalore. Thank you very much, Moderator Abhishek, Ranjanji, and both the eminent panelists, Mitesh Pandyaji and Vivek Prakashji. It was really a marvelous session, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you once again. And with this, may I please invite the moderator for the session, Dhaval Shahji, Chief Growth Officer in Corp Advisory, to come on the dais, please. May I please request Satish Ramchandani ji, Co-founder and Chief Business Officer, UpAdapt. And may I please request Abhirup Das ji, CEO and Co-founder, Oren. May I have a quick round of applause for these eminent panelists. Yes, and we have to start the next session of the award function after 20 minutes. So I think I'll request. Thanks, the house is yours now.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. We are coming towards the end of the panel discussions. And before we start, I'd like both my co-panelists to introduce themselves and the business that they do, so that you have a context of what we're going to talk about.
Thanks, Dhaval. So my name is Satish Ramchandani and I'm one of the co-founders and I head the business at UpAdapt. We are a ESG technology company helping businesses to track, monitor and report their ESG performances. And before that, I was in the industry for about 20 years. Last, I was with CRISIL Ratings for 8 years. I was heading the business for social sector ratings. And prior to that, with firms like Bank of America and Prudential Life.
Hello everyone, I'm Abhirup and I'm also one of the co-founders of Oren. As Satish mentioned, we are also in the similar space of ESG monitoring and management, because that is one thing that is where we think like technology will play an important role. To give you a background about myself, I come from oil and gas industry. I worked there for around 3.5 years, and then I had my experience in the technology industry. So I spent like both in my early career in both the spaces, and now started with Oren, helping companies manage their entire ESG on a digital platform.
Thank you Satish, thank you Abhirup. My first question to both of you is around the readiness. So, SEBI has put in a requirement for BRSR reporting starting this year for the top listed companies in India. Apart from that, there are requirements for startups to get fundings, for leverage companies to get loans. What is the readiness that you see in the organizations that you meet around ESG reporting and data fidelity? Abhirup, you can go first.
Thanks, Zirwal. So to answer your question on this, the readiness of corporates. So as we already had multiple sessions from all the MNCs in India and even the people who have been associated in the ESG space. So in the morning session, as Mr. Rajiv has also mentioned, that it is nothing new, right? So we have been in this space and we have been doing so many things on this space. So ESG reporting is just a new way of showing what we have been doing in this space of CSR, sustainability and all. But again, with the BRSR guidelines, as we see more and more companies going ahead with the reporting part, so on the environmental side and even the social side, so I think there are quite a few data points which has to be ingrained in the data collection process of the companies. So today there is a bit of lag between the data that we are monitoring, and especially waste data, again the water usage data, the emissions data. All these data points are not being collected or monitored on a corporate level. So those are a few points which I think on the corporate side is missing. And when I talk about the startup ecosystem or the Unicorns, even for them it is quite new, because on a policy level, even on the governance level, we have seen so many things coming up Bharat Pay and all these activities which are serious concerns about governance. So those are few highlighting points about the startup ecosystem.
Satish, your view?
Yeah. So, I'll break the readiness into two parts. One is, at a process level, and second, I would say at a philosophy or a principle level, So I think the good part, what we've seen is that, the sponsorship is at the highest level. there's a buy-in by the board, there's buy-in by the CEO. Here I'm speaking about, the 1,000 listed companies, at least more than 60-70% of them, during our interactions, even if they don't have a chief sustainability officer, the CFOs are taking keen interest because they need to submit the ESG performance data to the CFOs or to the rating agencies or to the lenders, who have started factoring in their underwriting process. So I think at least at the sponsorship level, we are seeing that, the commitment is there from the board side, from the CEOs and, other functional heads. At a process level, however, even if you look at some of the data points, CRISIL came out with their 2022 report about 10 days back. Out of some 550 companies they looked at, only about 20-22% of them report sustainability performances. And if you really, look at the top 1,000 listed companies, I would put a number of only 10-15%. Right? So that there's a big gap in terms of the reporting, though it was voluntary, this year it's mandatory, right? So they would not have any options. However, our interaction with the market suggests that, that firms don't have a process as of now, right? Or even if it's there, it's pretty manual in nature. The data are lying in multiple pockets, either in Excel sheets or, half-baked data points. So yes, the readiness is not there, but I think the kind of investments which they are making at a policy level or at a process level, the speed is pretty fast.
Thanks, Satish. Given that we have two people from technology here, I'd like to look at solutions because we believe that technology can solve things that people cannot. And from the discussions that we've had today, I've identified 3 areas which are seen as major gaps across most of the panel discussions that we've been a part of. The first being capacity building, the second being data fidelity and audit trail, and the third being your availability of skilled people for ESG reporting or for ESG analysis. And I'd like your opinion on how technology can solve or address some of these issues. Let's start with the first one on capacity building, and Satish, will go with you first.
So I think, again, if I'll break the entire set, or I've got a tendency, maybe I get a little nostalgic 20 years back when I used to do financial accounting, auditing and reporting, So if you look at the data sets, I'll break it into 3 principles rather. One is the scale. You're speaking about, like a headquartered company, in say Bangalore or Mumbai with operations across the globe, or, headquartered in New York and operations across various countries. How do you really manage that scale, of data? Second is the criticality of the data. ESG data points are not process data points. That information is going to be used for decision making by investors, lenders, rating agencies. So the data is critical. So scale, criticality, and third is the method. You need to present the data in line with various standards, right? You need to perform carbon footprint accounting. You need to do all that cycle. So how do you run that scale? How do you run the complexity? How do you ensure that the data which is critical is error prone, right? I think you would need technology, So coming back on your specific point on the capacity side, right? So yes, there is a gap between, I would say, the demand side of it and the supply side of it from a talent perspective, which eventually, is also giving a rise to another set of industry, which has its own commercial benefits, right? So whether you call it business schools or education schools, they are launching programs, But yes, it will have its own pace. Much of the action points would be on the companies, to create kind of awareness, create internal programs, to build that kind of capacities.
And the medium-term solution for this is to have courses in B schools and specific universities that talk on sustainability. But is technology a bridge for us to use until we get to that point of time is what we're looking for?
No, I think, so yeah, so I think it's, so obviously it's what the architecture and other elements of the technology is. So at least, some of the solutions which we have seen in the market, or at least what we have built, we have mapped ESG parameters as part of a solution, right? So it's not that at an industry level. So the players in the market could see in the solution, these are the parameters which are applicable to my industry, and what you need to really do is just capture those data points. The activity of capturing your emissions, your activity of capturing the footprints, your activity of aligning to the standards, your activity of generating sustainable reports will be taken care by the technology.
Okay, so in some sense, technology can replace some of the skill sets required in the field. Abhirup, from a supply chain perspective, the complexity of data gathering becomes multifold, right? While you are looking at one organization when you are doing reporting for your own business, if you are going to look at your top 50 suppliers or top 100 suppliers, you are effectively looking at data validation and data fidelity across 50 organizations which are completely out of your control. Is this something that technology can overcome?
Well, that's a very good question, because see, like when we talk about supply chains of today, like the modern supply chains, they are more and more complex, and with e-commerce and everything going forward, and like a 10 minutes delivery that we are talking today, so then the supply chain and the scope 3 emissions in particular makes more sense to calculate, and that is where like, when we bring in so much complexity, that is where the technology is the only enabler who can do this job at an accuracy which we demand, which the corporate world is demanding, or even the investors are demanding. So, like today, as we talk about technology, it is not only about the internal data or like capturing the data from our internal systems. It can integrate with the external systems of the vendors, and it can integrate with the alternate data which is externally available. So, give an example. Let's say like if a company has a sustainable supply chain policy today, right? How much of these policies are being implemented today? What we do, like we'll onboard our vendors with some disclosures, get the document signed, we'll say that these policies will be applicable to them. So these are basically on the documentation level we are doing. But when we are actually like giving a contract on a PO, are we mentioning all these things? Are there any penalties or like any repercussions for their payments to that? So all these things, if we are getting this out from the not-only data, which is available in the public domain, so those things can be verified through AI/ML models, and that can help companies to like validate that how what is the effectiveness of the policy that the companies have already developed, and how sustainable these companies are running their supply chains. So that is how I think technology will enable things in a much better way.
Got it. From the question that our friend from Symbiosis Institute of Operations Management has asked, we are looking at finding an independent assurance or getting a report being assured so that people can trust it and take investment decisions or take operational decisions based on that. Is technology an alternative way of having high data fidelity and an alternate assurance? You being people who are outside of the business, can we use or can we see technology as a substitute for assurance, especially today when there's so much demand and there is very little supply? Satish, you want to take that?
So, see, technology again would really enable or empower the assurance process itself. So it again depends on the controls built around the technology solution, right? Definitely, it will give more confidence to the third-party auditors or assurance providers. Once they see that you have a technology solution managing that kind of scale, or a documentation being uploaded, or the data points, as Abhiru said, coming from an independent third party or a third party, from an API integration perspective. So in short, yes, it can definitely enable the assurance process by itself. And then, yes, I'm sure audit there would also have an element of the systems audit being conducted, at a certain periodicity, that, the technology which you have in place, from a process perspective is pretty robust, and, have all the necessary controls where it can be really relied. So yes, no doubt about it that, it could really enable and empower the assurance process in a real significant way. Again, I would draw analogy to, the auditor's report generated while signing off the balance sheets, right? I mean, it is purely, again, use high technology to really make the entire process more reliable.
I have one last question, but before we get there, I'd like to open the floor for questions from the room here. Any questions on technology and the kind of use cases it could enable for your organization so that you could research? Any questions from the floor? Okay. There's one there? Yes. Can you please get a mic up to her? Yeah, but the room will not be able to hear you.
Hi, this is Indu. I'm coming from Waycoal Foods. So we are basically in the agri-commerce space. As an organization, we also have a ESG strategy because the organization covers a farm to table supply chain, which calls for a number of areas, social, environmental, where we want to track impact. My question to the panel is, how can these technologies support seasonal businesses like agriculture? You know, when we say ESG reporting, some KPIs are monthly, they are monthly in nature, which can give you a lot more steadier monitoring mechanism versus some are seasonal in nature, like how we see in agriculture, right? Let me give you an example. If we want to track how Waycoal's interventions have impacted farmer livelihood, we need to wait for one season of cropping to complete, compare it with the next season so that we have a comparative analysis. So can technology be customized or transformed in such a way that it can take up such complex or seasonal industries also to efficiently report ESG KPIs?
Thank you, that's a great question. Anyone wants to take a shot at it?
So, like, I know this is a typical problem which will be, like, as you mentioned, it's a seasonal kind of a thing. So, here, see, like, technology can play a role in terms of the replicability of the same thing over the period of time. So, today, again, when we talk about technology, it has to be trained on the models there. So, the initial data gathering or the data part will have to be configured, where we'll have to wait for a few, like 1 year down the line. And post that, as in when we have more and more data, that will give us much more accurate, modeling and all those things over there. So, I know a few of the companies who have been using weather data and all the other parameters to like improve the overall yield and the overall output of agricultural land. In India, again, like there are many startups who have been doing this, and for them also, like the starting was a bit slow, but over the period of time, because of the larger set of data that they are gathering and generating, it has been much more fruitful and much more easy for them over the period of time.
So what you're saying is that to create a data model, you will need initial data from one cycle or two cycles, and then as more data is received, that model can be fine-tuned to meet the requirements for reporting. You want to add to that, Satish?
So I think it's what science you build in, you know, from a technology perspective, you know, you could align it to the business use case, right? So the frequency of the data, because it's seasonal, is one part of the thing, right? You can sort of build those predictive analysis, you know, to gauge what the performance is going to be in future. And actuals, once it begins, it becomes a cycle, you know. I mean, that's the only additional input I would add.
Right. Any other questions from the floor? Okay. One last question for both of you. Today, what is the biggest roadblock that you see from organizations who are willing to adopt technology as a part of their standard operating procedures and reporting? Both of you can take a shot at it, one after the other.
I think the current challenge from an India market perspective, I would say, is you know, it's purely the awareness. I would say, you know, it's purely the awareness of the ESG landscape. I would say, right? Even firms are taking their own time, you know, in terms of understanding the concept, you know, and sort of implementing the entire strategy, designing the strategy, and then implementing the strategy. I would say even good sized listed companies are still sort of really thinking, okay, what should be my strategy and how do I really implement it, From a technology perspective, we, at least personally, our experience has been that, as I said, because the sponsorship is at the highest level, we don't see any much challenge from a budget perspective. The larger challenge is more on the designing and executing the strategy, that how do I reach my net zero goals, how do I really design and execute a decarbonization strategy.
Got it. Abhiru?
So I have a different opinion to this because today when we see the corporate world, they are getting into this compulsory reporting of BRSR. Obviously, I agree with Satish's awareness is the biggest problem. But apart from that, the main problem or challenge is that today everyone is getting into this process for the first time, like for most of the companies, I would say. And like an analogy to this, let's say we decide to become healthy on the 31st of December, right? So 1st of January, we all get enrolled for gym membership. And we will sign up for a personal trainer so that we get acclimatized to that. And post that, then we'll figure out that how we can do it online or we can have a treadmill in our house, and so that we can ease out the entire process. So that is the entire phase that we are going through right now. So everyone wants to try out things by deploying, engaging with consultants who can help them with the entire journey. It's a hand-holding process. And once they are gone through this process of initially identifying a discovery, that we say, post that they will definitely get into this adoption of technology. So only people, so now as you already mentioned, the question was the roadblock. So the roadblock is the availability of resources who can understand this landscape and who can help these corporates to bring this to up to pace. So today, CFO is a national extension of a CSO today. They are playing this role of overall managing the entire ESG landscape. So if there is a CSO who has a knowledge on the environmental, social and governance aspect and the entire ESG, so he or she will be definitely looking into ESG tech solution. But if a CFO is doing, he will first get used to this entire process and then definitely go to technology.
Got it. Thank you, Guru. From his answer, I realized a couple of things. One is I did not introduce myself. My name is Zirwal, and I work with Incom Advisory. And the second part is the consultants he was talking about is us. So if there is, it creates value together with technology and people coming together to solve a problem. Thank you very much to my panelists. Thank you to the audience. I really appreciate the discussion that we had. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for meticulously adhering to the time schedule. Thank you so much. May I please request Rusen ji to come and felicitate the panelists of this session. Rusen ji is very fond of books these days. Thank you. May I have a big round of applause from the audience. So it has been a very insightful day, and let me place on record my sincere thanks and gratitude to such a wonderful audience who has been listening patiently and tirelessly. In another 5 minutes from now, we'll be starting the India Sustainability Awards, and we are blessed to have both the members, the chairman of the jury and the jury member, both with us. Member of the jury is likely to join in another 5-7 minutes. The chairman of the jury is already here with us, Madam Hon'ble, brand and communication specialist and former senior advisor of Vedanta Group. In the current session, starting from 5 minutes from now, we'll have the special address by the guests. So, may I please request the special address by the guest. May I please request Dr. Rajiv Sharma ji to come on the dais, who is Chief Advisor to Government of Telangana. Please give him a big round of applause. May I please request Madam Roma Balwani, Brand and Communication Specialist and former Senior Advisor to Vedanta Group, to come on the dais. Just to remind you again, Madam Roma Balwani, she had been the chairman of the jury, and may I please request Rusen Kumar to take the seat on the dais. And another 5 minutes from now, we'll be expecting Madam Valerie Pinto, who is CEO of Weber Shandwick India. She's likely to join us. I just got a call from her. So in another 5 minutes from now, she'll be joining us. So may I May I please request Mr. Rusen Kumar to deliver the opening address.
So, thank you, Dr. Rana जी. आज के सेशन बहुत ही शानदार रहे और ESG को सोसाइटी के लिए सिंप्लीफाई करना, इस टॉपिक को इज सो मच कॉम्प्लेक्स टॉपिक, इसको सिंप्लीफाई करना इस कॉन्फ्रेंस से हमें काफ़ी कुछ क्लैरिटी मिली होगी. एनवायरमेंट सस्टेनेबिलिटी, कार्पोरेट एजेंडा, सोसाइटल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, इंडिविजुअल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. So this is time for India Sustainability Awards. So there is so many innovation also going on in within the industry. So India CSR has established the India Sustainability Award, and this year the award is the jury chair is Roma Balwani ji. Roma ji is a senior veteran in this sector, brand, communication, sustainability, CSR, and the whole life is dedicated to this communication, CSR, sustainability, the sector. So at India CSR, we believe that all responsible companies are required to initiate and engage in numerous initiatives to maximize environmental footprint from product development to production and finally disposal or discharge. So we at India CSR envision that companies are committed to resolving complex challenges on the global scale, contributing to a more sustainable world. We view companies' sustainability efforts as an investment for the collective future. Nowadays, sustainability management is a fundamental part of organization growth in a rapid changing business environment. So in this environment, a positive approach benefits competitiveness and lays the foundation for better long-term future for all us. So the vision of this award is to aspire to be a credible sustainability award in the country, so that the best practices can be highlighted for the society. And the mission of the India Sustainability Award is to recognize and reward excellence towards sustainability best practices of businesses. So now I am inviting Roma ji to say few words about his vision toward the India Sustainability Award. Thank you.
Thank you, Rusen ji, and my fellow panelists here, Dr. Sharma, and distinguished guests and awardees who are here. It's so nice to see that people have taken the efforts to come here. And what we are doing is we are doing this first India Sustainability Awards in two parts. We are going to do a felicitation of certain key sustainability champions who are not really representative of the entire awards that we have finalized. We will be having a virtual ceremony as well, which will happen on a later date because people coming still from COVID affected areas were not able to travel, so we have accommodated that. But just to give you a little bit of insight on the entire jury process, we were very overwhelmed with the response and the kind of diligence that we saw on the corporates giving us. And there were some gems, some things that we possibly did not know, some things that we learned. So the jury deliberations became much more wholesome. And the judging process that we are now following, and will follow in the future as well, is to see how people can demonstrate standards and best practices. How can they really bring innovation in their processes which can show impact, and that is to do with sustainable practices. Yes, there is environment, there is social performance, there is governance. And right through the day, I heard many companies sharing their best practices. And I think those are the companies who have really taken a step forward. And they also know that sustainability does not draw out of the business, it draws in the business. Your top line gets impacted, your bottom line gets impacted very positively. Earlier, sustainability was looked at as something that we had to tick a box. And I remember many years back when at Vedanta we started this whole process of sustainable development. I had my colleague Mitesh here. Mitesh and I did a lot of work at Vedanta, and we saw that we had so much to communicate. What we didn't do in the past was, while we were doing the best sustainability practices, we were not communicating. So please also don't be shy of communicating your best practices, because that's how you're also sharing the best practices and making people learn what they can imbibe from what you do. Especially in the mining sector that we both belong, it is very important that we as listed companies have to follow a regulatory process. And we are completely straight-jacketed because of that. But that also gives us an opportunity. And we got that many years back as an Indian company listed in the London Stock Exchange. Many Indian mining companies don't realize the kind of regulatory requirements. People spoke about GRI certifications, people spoke about many other certifications which are required. They are important, but don't look at it as a tick box. Because if you don't do this with passion, and I heard Mitesh and everybody else say that, you will never be able to walk the talk. You have to have your leadership interventions. You must have the leadership imbibing the values. I still remember one of the sustainability days I had in London, and that was for the Vedanta group. We actually invited all the socially responsible investors, we invited all the NGOs, and we explained to them what we do. And this was way back 10 years back. And we haven't looked back since. And many companies today we see are imbibing those best practices. So with that, I won't stand in your way between the exciting awards of some of the sustainable champions who possibly have been working, and not coming to the forefront. So we're not calling all the leaders, but we're calling some of the operational heads as well. So I think let's go into the awards straight away, and thank you all for being here, and I'll hand over to my colleague. okay, till then, I think he's suddenly gone missing. Is he coming? Yeah, I think you're going to announce your awards now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now is the moment for announcing the India Sustainability Awards 2022. I take this opportunity to thank Rusen Kumarji for bestowing this responsibility to me. So the first company is Minda Corporation Limited for environmental sustainability. May I please request Praveen Kern. Please join your hands together. I think we can join our hands together to make this evening more memorable. Congratulations, Praveen Karji, on behalf of Minda Corporation. The next organization is Oren for Tech Implementation in ESG Performance, Tech Innovation. May I please request Abhirup Das from Oren Group. Please join your hands together. Congratulations. Now may I please request somebody from Chetak Foundation, Shri Sachin Haritesh ji, Director, Chetak Logistics, and Arun Arora ji to come on stage. Please join your hands together. Congratulations, Chetak Foundation, for doing splendid work year after year.
We will invite all the winners to talk a few words.
Yes, next is Atmiya University for promoting sustainable practices. May I request somebody on behalf of Shiv Tripathi to come and receive the award. So we may join our hands together once again. May I please request Mr. Kumar from CIMB Patna for receiving India CSR Award for the beautiful minds. Please join your hands together. May I please request Mr. Arvind Agarwal, Founder and CEO AICL Communication, for focus on sustainability reporting. Mr. Arvind Agarwal. Please join your hands together. May I please request some representative from Delivery. Delivery has got this award for focus on CSR and sustainability. I think he's not here. May I please request Dalmia Cement, Dr. Satish Mishra, Head of Sustainability from Dalmia Cement, for their commitment on net zero carbon emission. Dr. Satish Mishra from Dalmia Cement. Next is Jindal Steel for their focus on circular economy. Mr. Ravindra from Jindal Steel. Please join our hands together. The next organization is CAN India for their focus on CSR and sustainability. May I please request Harmit Shehra, head CSR. May I request the audience to join their hands together to congratulate all the recipients. The next award goes to Nestle India for their focus on environmental sustainability. May I please request the members from Nestle India Limited to come and receive the award. I'll request the audience to join their hands and give a big round of applause. Congratulations. The next recipient is Ms. Angela Chitkara, who has been recognized as Women Leader for Global Sustainability Communications. Big round of applause. The next award goes to Madam Kiran Sarkar, Women Leader for ESG Commitment. Madam Kiran Sarkar. Okay, thanks. Now may I please, this is time for the partners of the event to be recognized. May I please request the last awardee, SBI Foundation, for their focus on ESR, ESG and CSR, Mr. Aman Bhaiya. Now, may I please request Shri Rusen Kumarji to felicitate Dr. Sharma for his outstanding contributions. Dr. Rajiv Sharma, please. Big round of applause, please. Rusen ji, camera, please. Okay. We'll have a group photograph of all the award recipients at the end. May I please request the partners to come and receive their award one by one. First one is Jindal Steel and Power. Anybody from Jindal Steel and Power? Brilio? Anybody from Brilio? Then Good Govern. Jindal is here? Oh, please. May I please request Dr. Rajiv to come on the dais to receive on behalf of CIMB. Please request representative of Brilio to come on the dais, please. Brilio. Not there. May I request representative from Carbon Negative to come on the dais. Carbon Negative. Now may I please request a recipient from Essar group to come and receive the partner memento, please. Anybody from Essar group? So thanks to all the recipients and congratulations to one and all. Now I will request Shri Ramakrishna Ganeshji, founder of Carbon Negative Company, to come and deliver the vote of thanks. May I please? Okay. Before Mr. Ramakrishna Ganesh delivers the word of thanks, here is the opportunity to all the recipients to come and share their views, 1 minute each. Anyone who wishes to come and share? Everyone, one by one. Thank you. So I think that was the best one. So Praveen Kern to start with. Big round of applause for Praveen Kern, please.
Thank you very much, Ranaji. Thank you, Rusen and India CSR for giving away this award to Minda Corporation Limited. Sustainability, ESG practices, these are the DNA of the organization, and we have been doing it for a couple of decades. We have done 25,000 plantations with a typical SOP, extending operating practice with which we have been doing it in southern part, western part, and northern part of the country. And we have removed close to 10 lakh kg of carbon as per the calculation, standard calculation with this project. We have also been doing a lot of other practices like energy saving, reduce, recycle, reuse, water conservation. We have paper saving drives, solar energy, renewable energy practices, and there are many other sustainability projects which are there. We have a way to go. It's just a beginning. And thank you very much for the acknowledgement through this platform. It really encourages us to do a lot more. Thank you very much, Ranaji. My 1 minute is over. So maybe on his behalf, the next recipient can come down here. Thank you.
Thank you. Your 1 minute is over. No, you can raise. Now may I please request somebody from Oren, Mr. Avirup Das, and let us stick to 1 minute. We can keep it 55 seconds, but not make it 65. Thank you.
So I'll not take more than 30 seconds of your time. So anyway, thanks India CSR and ESG Summit and everyone here for appreciating what we are doing on the technology side. And as we have already mentioned and had a detailed discussion on how technology adoption can help in this ESG phenomenon. So that's why we hope more and more companies and even corporates are aligning to that methodology. And thanks. That's it.
Now may I please request Shri Rusen Kumarji to felicitate Madam Roma Balwani, the jury of the chair. Big round of applause, please. Yes. I think bring the next award of Madam Narhari Pinto as well.
She has been assisting me, so she must be here.
Thank you for making it, ma'am. She's Valerie Pinto, CEO of Weber Shandwick India. Despite her busy schedule, she could finally make it. May I please request to come and deliver a few words as a member of the jury. Over to you. She is CEO of Weber Shandwick India. So over to you now.
So thank you, India CSR team and India CSR Summit for having me here. I think it was so inspiring to see all the work that we saw. The work that each one of you are doing and some of you are doing on the ground is just commendable. And I think there's a lot more that one needs to do, given that ESG is the most important mantra for every organization as well as every corporate as we go into building a zero carbon and a zero harm world that we're going to live in. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I'm really proud to have looked at all the work, and I'm proud of all of you who submitted the work as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for such short and sweet thoughts. Now we will continue with the same series. May I please request Shri Sachin Hariteshji, Director, Chetak Logistics, to come and share his thoughts.
I would like to thank my wife, I would like to thank my parents, I would like to thank my dog. Sorry, on a serious note, we are really humbled at Chetak Foundation for being honored. Thank you, Rusen, thank you, jury, Roma, Valerie. It's a touching gesture and it will really encourage us because we want to focus on welfare of underprivileged truck drivers, and we are hoping to touch lives of 1 million drivers for their welfare and especially for getting respect to them. That is what we are aiming for, and we need your wishes. Thank you, and this is very encouraging.
Thank you very much. Now may I please request Arvind Agarwal, Founder and CEO AICL Communication. May I have a big round of applause for him?
So, good evening everyone, and thank you very much for this appreciation and honor. Grateful to Rusen, grateful to Roma and Valerie for considering us and reaching out and recognizing what I believe is a 15-year journey on helping Indian companies understand the importance of sustainability and working with many of you in the room to bring it to life and showcase it to the world. So not many may know, but when sustainability and ESG were not such buzzwords, we've been working tirelessly along with corporates who are very, very serious about it to produce sustainability related work, internal campaigns, volunteering work, as well as now a lot of globally benchmarked reporting that's designed to improve sustainability ratings as well as meet the filters of global investors. So thank you very much, and thanks to all our clients who put the faith in us, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to do this going forward. Once again, very, very grateful, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Now may I please request Mr. Rusen Kumar to felicitate our member of the jury, Madam Valerie Pinto. Over to you, Rusen Kumarji. May I please request the audience to give a big round of applause. May I please request Mr. Aman Bhaiya from SBI Foundation to come and share his thoughts quickly. Over to you.
Thank you, India CSR team, and it is very heartening to see so many people gathered here after a long COVID-induced lockdown, and almost 2 years we are, I think, one of the first summits to be in person. So it is heartening as well as encouraging to see so many like-minded organizations and individuals working towards saving the planet. As SBI employee, we are very committed towards working towards the same goal of SDG 2030s, and among that we have one very important aim to contribute all our resources as well as time towards saving our planet. And as mentioned, among all the initiatives, I would not take much time as only 1 minute has been given to us. So among all the initiatives that we fund, some of the key ones are like we have adopted a red panda species for its conservation. So I request all of you to Google it and share something about red panda as a species which is less known among Indians. It is present in Darjeeling and Sikkim region. Then second initiative which I think some of you would be interested in is Maharashtra Startup Challenge is going on, where climate change is one of the themes, where we are inviting all startups to apply, and at SBI we are supporting the incubation program with Atal Innovation Center. So all interested startups in your circle, or some of you must be here today, can apply. Last date is 6 June. So with this, I would like to thank you for coming, and thank India CSR team also for recognizing our efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. Now may I please request Harmeet Sehra, Head CSR from Jain India Limited, to come and share her thoughts. May I request the audience to join your hands together to welcome her.
Being the only female candidate on stage, apart from the jury, I'll take more than a minute. Good evening, Rusen sir. Thank you so much for calling, and the jury members and everybody sitting here. Thank you so much. I'm very privileged to be here. Mostly, I am a backseater sitting at the ground level, working quietly, as Roma ma'am said. So while Rusen said that I have to speak, I had to run down my pen to stick it to 1 minute. So. So I just read it out what I have to spend on in the last few minutes. So basically I'm from Jain Oil and Gas Vedanta Limited, heading the CSR environment. I'm running across 4 states. Sustainability is an evolving journey at Jain, where each initiative is critically curated to be aligned with the SDG goals, which is further synergized into our organization's ESG goals right now. And I'm very proud to be a part, as Pandyaji was saying, that chairman, it's everything percolates from the chairman, and he is so active and getting us into all the information and how they're clubbing up things. Today we already have set up our goals. Till 2030, we're going to touch 30 million people through our CSR and ESG already. And it's already penned down, as Pandyaji said, we've already made the KPIs. So that's one part of it. Secondly, I also would like to say that during our 2 years of pandemic, surprisingly, the entire team had come out with very innovative ideas which I'd like to share with you. Of course, in pandemic, we did a lot of work with the government as well as with the district authorities, as well as supporting from the chairman. We got non-stop, where we could really support everybody in and around Barmet district and areas around where I have been working in Rajasthan.
And we came up with an innovative idea of e-Kaksha also, which I would like to share in a few minutes. E-Kaksha is anybody could just go down and just Google it up. What we started was we started classes for 6th to 12th classes. We took all the information and the syllabuses for 6 to 12 children in Rajasthan, and we brought it down to showing it online. And 15-20 minutes, we just broke out the entire chapters and 15-20 minutes of each chapter. And we never knew it would go so wide that today the entire government of Rajasthan has adopted it and they're showing it in each school of 33 districts. And it's gone beyond that across the entire nation. And today I think we have more than 9 crore touching that, viewers who are actually seeing and studying through e-Kaksha. And that's something we are really proud about what we did during pandemic. Of course, you're done lots more, but you can always check up and I would speak much. But today, whatever it could be possible, I would only thank our chairman who is so grounded and he's so visionary. And whatever we are doing today, the entire CSR team at the ground, with so much of dedication and passion is only thanks to our chairman. And of course, our supporters, like Roma ma'am, she's always been there putting cherry on all the work we do silently at the ground. And thank you so much, Rusen. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so very much. Now may I please request representative from Nestle India. May I request the audience to give a big round of applause for Nestle India.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you to India CSR for giving us the opportunity. And basically, it's a pleasure to be awarded as the India Sustainability Champion. So, basically, preserving the planet is viewed in the purpose of Nestle, and we remain committed to integrating the environment into our business planning. So, basically, we are actively involved in engaging the farmers, the consumers, the employees, and the suppliers on increasing the awareness of the environment. Similarly, Nestle has accelerated sustainability journey in 4 areas. It's basically water, packaging, sourcing, and climate. Nestle India, most of the brands are plastic neutral, which is basically, which means whatever quantity we are selling or we are generating, that much quantity we are taking from the field and we are recycling. So once again, thank you, Rusen ji, thank you, Kumar ji, and thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. And the last word goes to Ms. Angela Chitkara. Over to you. Give her a big round of applause. She has traveled all the way from the United States of America. Well, especially for this event. So a big round of applause once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Roma. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Rusen. Thank you to India CSR for this lovely, unexpected recognition. The environment is ripe for this work in diversity, equity, and inclusion and ESG. The world can learn a lot from the sustainability practices here in India. Its ability to engage in spirited discussions, drive for innovation, and empathetic leadership. ESG and DEI tie to business imperatives and objectives. Those objectives tie to corporate reputation, building trust, talent, recruitment, and retention. Bottom line, it ties to people and the planet. So here we are together, and the work that we do needs to be embedded in everything that we do. So what's foundational is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thank you.
Yes, the organizer is now giving the last opportunity. Anybody from the audience who would like to share some thoughts, views, and left for the day. Anybody from the audience who would like to share their views, thoughts? So I think they are already very thoughtful and pardon? Group picture? Vote of thanks ke pehle? Vote of thanks ke pehle? Okay, so may I request all the awardees to come on the dais to after vote of thanks? After vote of thanks, I'll request all the awardees to come. Now I'll request Mr. Ramakrishna Ganesh, who's founder of Carbon Negative, as well as 7 Trees for Life, and is also a Guinness Book record holder for Plog Run, conducting a Plog Run. Big round of applause for him. Over to you, sir.
All right, thank you. You mentioned 7 Trees for Life. I don't know how many of you know 7 Trees for Life. I just wanted to take a quick minute to tell you about 7 Trees for Life. How many of you know how much oxygen do you consume in a year? I know it's free, but so let me tell you. So only people realize the oxygen value during the COVID time. Every human sitting here consumes about 9.1 tons of oxygen in a year. And out of this, 23%, which is 743 kgs of oxygen, is delivered to you by trees. And that is delivered to you by 7 trees. That is why we launched a company called 7 Trees for Life. So our idea is to every human who's living on this earth at least has to plant 7 trees for their own oxygen, their lung space. So yeah, that's 7 Trees for Life for you. Anyway, good evening and thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. I know it's a long day. Everybody's been, we didn't even give a lunch break. So thank you so much for all your patience and being here today. On behalf of India CSR, I would like to thank all our honorable delegates who their presence here at the conference, and the advisory committee members and the invited speakers. Words are not enough to thank their constant guidance and support to make this conference a great success. On behalf of the organizing committee, we really thank you. Thank you to the jury. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you. So at an event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. The wheels started rolling months in advance. We've been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of motivated, dedicated team. We want to thank each and everyone. I cannot thank everyone enough for the involvement they've shown and the willingness they've expressed to take this completion of tasks beyond their comfort zones. Thank you, everyone. And I'm very much thankful to our partners. It would not have been possible without them to put a show like this. Jindal Steel and Power, Brilio, Impact Dash, Oren, Good Govern, Updapt, of course Carbon Negative, 7 Trees for Life, the Groundwater Company, CIMB, Boruca, Vision Spring, Atmiya University, Symbiosis Institute of Operation Management, Chetak Foundation, and Ratandao, STEM, MASH, Center for Arbitration and Research, MNLU, Mumbai, and economyindia.in and csirbooks.com. Thank you all the sponsors or the partners who made this possible today. I would also like to thank the auditorium in charge, Rajiv Gujarati, who's been really supportive to make this conference effective. All are sitting here comfortably because they're doing a lot of work at the back end to make sure that we are not feeling the heat here in Mumbai. Yeah, at the end I would like to thank my counterpart, Rusen ji, the founder of India CSR. Please join hands to congratulate him on successful completion of the first ESG summit, which finally we are all here today. I know this is our first ESG summit in India. This is just a beginning for all of us. I think we'll have many more to come, and we need more audience to come together to work towards this sustainability goal. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, and I know if time was the money, then today you guys have spent millions of rupees with us today. I think thank you so much to all of you, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Ram, for such elaborate vote of thanks. And the last thanks goes to coronavirus for resting in peace to allow all of us to remain active. With these words, I'll request all our recipients and awardees to come on the dais along with their awards to have a group photograph. Over to all of you, quickly. Because coronavirus also deserves some thanks